welcome to this edition of Brand Buzz with me, Ankita Saxena. Well, this is the show where we get you the most interesting conversations from the world of advertising and marketing and the business of brands. And on this edition, we have the newly appointed CEO of Paisabazaar, Santosh Agarwal, and she speaks to us about her plans to strengthen Paisabazaar as a brand, the slowdown in the lending industry, and the launch of PB Money and how that is likely to pan out. Hi Santosh, thank you so much for joining us today. Well, hi Santosh, congratulations on you becoming the CEO of Paisabazaar. Now, you have been with PB Fintech Group with the Policybazaar since 2011. Share with us how has your journey been so far, and as the new CEO, what is on your immediate to-do list?
The journey, Ankita, has been fantastic. It's been a fulfilling journey. Uh, Over the last 13 and a half years, I've seen Policybazaar figure out its business model to scale to the most meaningful marketplace, to become a destination for consumers for all insurance solutions. And, really heartening to see the hard work of the team uh, from the build up phase, taking it to the IPO and the success that it's brought to the group. Also, I would say that have witnessed Paisabazaar's journey along the way, and Paisabazaar was one bright idea of Naveen's thinking, and the way it shaped up over the last 11 years. I've witnessed that journey, and very inspirational to the place that we are at. And there's a lot that can be done, a lot of potential and opportunity that I see moving forward. And of course, I'm excited to be here. I see a lot of headroom for growth, and the next phase is going to be exciting. As the immediate, I would say, next steps, I see myself understanding the business, uh, understanding the team, understanding the dynamics of the lending marketplaces. There's a lot of cross learning that comes along, because of course marketplaces have certain common elements, and you understand what you need to do for consumers. You need to understand what the consumer journey is going to be. So a lot of things are in common, uh, but yes, this is a different business. It has its own challenges, and there's a lot to learn. And over time, think about how we can make Paisabazaar a more resilient organization that, of course, does lending, but overall takes care of a consumer's financial wellness, and does everything over and above lending to, I would say, investments and advisory, of not just advising people on their credit scores and how they can better them, but also advising people on how they can manage their money better.
Santosh, Paisabazaar has significantly grown over the last decade. In fact, you now have a large consumer base of what, with 50 million consumers on board now. Now, where does this go from here, and what are your key priorities and your long-term objectives as you lead the company into the next phase of growth?
So Paisabazaar has earned, I would say, it's a reputation of being a consumer brand, and that's clearly visible in the trust that 5 crore consumers have placed in us. And it is the destination for people to check their credit score. It is a destination for people to look at loans, credit cards, and I think what the journey forward uh, is going to pivot and evolve to a more holistic financial wellness platform and solution, where we are able to advise consumers on the advisory front, on investments, on how to manage money better, on areas around deposits, on, I would say, being more meaningful to the lending ecosystem in general, which is, along with lending, developing our risk capability and assessing which is a good risk and differentiating risk and what to onboard, what not to onboard. Uh, Along with that, building out a collections capability. So becoming, I would say, pivot from becoming a distributor per se to a real partner where we are able to partner with banks and do meaningful business with them, both on the asset side and on the liabilities side. So that is clearly something that we will build out. Over and above that, how do we leverage AI and how do we make our processes more efficient? How can we? This is a more consumer need product, a more pull product. So how can more and more inbound happen, and how can we get a lot of efficiency through AI to make our processes and systems leaner? I think that's going to be the next phase of growth.
Santosh, how do you plan to strengthen Paisabazaar as a brand and differentiate it from a very competitive fintech space?
See, I think we already have a competitive advantage uh, from the fact that we are a consumer brand. So people understand what Best Bazaar is. It's a known brand, and when we talk as Best Bazaar, a consumer knows us. So I think we're already starting from a point of advantage, and to strengthen the brand from here on, if we are able to provide a solution which is more holistic, and we understand that people do need loans, we understand people do need credit cards, but at the same time people also need investment advice. And what you realize is that the wealthy lot, or the super prime segment, is already served by a lot of wealth management firms, but the middle class Indian is not really served well. Can we become the solution for people to get investment advice for the middle class? And with a product like PB Money that we've just launched, where we have a 360-degree view of a customer's financial health, where we have access to uh, their savings accounts, how much balance is there in the account. We have access to their mutual fund deposits. We have access to their stock holding. With that, I think we have a very good view of a consumer. And how do we get the middle class to become more financially savvy and be more prudent around their planning and investment advisory? I think that's something that we will build out. And there's a space for this kind of business. And I think we will take that position clearly.
Also, AI and tech has become, a big differentiator as far as the fintech industry is concerned. How are you leveraging AI and tech to your advantage?
So there are a couple of things that AI can really help us deliver well. One is, of course, a frictionless consumer experience. How do we know a lot more about the consumer through the ecosystem, and build out a profile of the consumer without having to ask the consumer a lot of documents, information about themselves? That's, of course, part one. Uh, Part two would be, we have a lot of advice going on, a lot of application processing, a lot of just information that you would need about a consumer, about where they live, what how much they earn, what city, what pin code, what education, etc., etc. And all of this today is done by human beings, and this is very, very standard information that you would require for an application loan processing. Can all of this be done through an AI agent? And that's one of the interesting objectives that we're working on today as a company. We call it the Digi Agent, and it's in fact almost about 10% of our calls today are being handled by Digi Agent. Can that scale up? And it can scale up massively. It has the capability to speak in various languages. It has the capability to, in the middle of the conversation, if one flips from one language to the other, respond in the particular language. So I think it's been built out beautifully, and how that can bring in a lot of efficiency is something that we are excited about. The third element of AI is developing our risk capability. As a lending and a loan marketplace, what is key is risk. Risk is very central to the organization, and AI can play a very deep and meaningful role there. Uh, Collecting a lot of data points about a consumer when they engage with us on the website, with us on the app, which device they're using, what source of traffic did they come from, how much time did they spend on the consumer journey. All of these data points which are exclusive to a distribution shop, which may be exclusive to a marketplace like Pesa, is unique in a way that a lender will never have access to these data points. How do you make these data points into very good refined risk models that will make a superlative risk capability for a distributor and can differentiate you from any other marketplace? That's the other, I think, capability that we're working on. So overall, I would say that AI is being used in everyday business. It's not something that we just talk about in our boardrooms and in our stories with the market. This is something that we do use every day in business, and you will see a lot of efficiency come out through this process eventually.
Santosh, we have seen a considerable slowdown in the lending industry. How do you see the situation evolving over the next few months, and what would be Paisabazaar's key objectives in FY26?
I would say that we have the last 6 months have been tough. We've gone through a phase where there were a lot of regulatory measures that were taken, and of course we saw a tightening in liquidity, and the business did see a slowdown. It All I would say is that the last 6 months has been a phase of immense learning. We exactly know what the mistakes not to make. We exactly know the capability that we need to build out, and we're already seeing some green shoots. We're already seeing some easing out of pressure on the liquidity side, and with that, as we build out our next phase of growth, what we see key in our growth story is the risk capability and ensuring that we understand risk very well, and we are able to differentiate bad and good risk. And if you're able to only filter out good risk that goes into our portfolio, then I think the business becomes super resilient. So investing in a risk team is something that we are doing at present, and the risk capability is now at an altogether next level. The third part to this is also our collections capability. I think hand holding the consumer, not just for the dispersal process, but also hand holding the consumer if they fall off in the uh, phase of paying their dues and paying their EMIs. How can we contact at the right time, ensure that the consumer is able to pay their dues, is able to we are able to manage and handhold the consumer, and that would result in better, I would say, low loss ratios, low NPAs, and over time, I think that will build a profitable book for not just for Pesa but its partners. And with that, what we also will start to do is also not just look at assets, but also look at liabilities and build out an extensive savings practice where we do everything from deposits to bonds to insurance. So anything that helps an Indian save money and plan their financials better, I think that's one practice that we will build out. So overall, as we move forward and look at the next couple of years, you'll see us as a 360-degree holistic organization that does everything that should add value to a consumer and to our partners.
Right. Santosh, speaking of the liquidity, do you see easing out of the tight liquidity in the industry? And what will be the impact of the RBI's measures? And what will be the impact of the RBI rate cut on your business?
See, what we see is that there is a lot of pressure on there was a lot of pressure on banks, and the risk weights were adjusted. That did end up in tightening, and now I think most of the measures have been taken. Now we do see RBI doing a lot of cuts, and that will enable that will pump money in the market. that will ease out a lot of pain from lending perspective. So basically the funnels had gotten tighter, the underwriting policies had gotten stricter. So some of that will ease out, and the cost of funds should reduce. With that, of course, the rate at which we are lending should go down, which means more money in the hands of consumers. And hopefully, with that, the GDP growth rate will come back to the expected levels of 6.4, 6.5. And overall, I think that should be good news for the economy.
Right. Santosh, also, how is the overall stress in the unsecured lending, your investments in the secured lending, and how much will you grow in this segment?
So secured today is a larger business than unsecured for us, but I think that's because of the phase we are in. But what you will also see now is that we will continue to invest both in our secured and unsecured businesses, and we will build out our fulfillment capability on the secured side. So you will see us investing a lot in opening up branches, opening up offices across India, and you'll see a lot of tech enabled capability for our teams to be able to uh, you know go to people's houses, collect documents, upload them digitally, and a lot of tech enabled journeys for both our partners and for our consumers. And I see secured now being one of the mainstay businesses that we do. And secured means all kinds of products. Secured will mean the traditional home loan, LAP products, etc. But it will also mean a lot of digital products like loans against mutual fund, loan against securities, loan against gold. So we'll be doing a lot of secured products, and we'll build these journeys out over the next few months. And the way I see Pesa is that we will help a consumer get a loan. If it means that secured is the more efficient way of getting the loan, it will be secured. If you feel that unsecured is a more efficient way of getting loan, it will be unsecured. So instead of looking at these businesses as two separate business verticals, I think we will look at as consumer what makes sense to a consumer, what is the best chance of the consumer getting a loan, and the best and most efficient way of serving the consumer. I think that's the journey that we will build out, and that's how we see the next few months pan out.
Right. Santosh, also talk to us about the ambitions of Paisabazaar to grow beyond its unsecured and secured lending footprint, and also expanding into the world of pensions and savings.
See, I think the reason why I feel that we are at a point where we should foray into savings and pensions is that the India stack, the stack that enables us to get access to people's bank account balances, the access of getting to know, for businesses how much GST is being deposited. So there's a lot of work that has gone into building some of these APIs. So the India stack, whether you look at account aggregator, you look at EPFO integrations. So there's a lot of data that is now easily accessible through digital means. And once you have a few view of all of this for a consumer, what is only prudent is to be able to give the right advice of managing money. And the right advice would mean for different age groups, for people or different I would say segments that we see consumers in. For a super prime, the advice could be very different from somebody who's just starting their financial journey. So now that we have a view of all of these, we will build out a savings practice, and it will mean for people who are about to retire, what is the best pension solution. For people who are basically in their middle zone, or people who are right now in 30 to 40s, how to make the best use of their money and secure their goals of child education or buying a home. For people who are starting their journey early, and how do you build a credit history, how do you ensure that you understand what credit score means, how do you ensure that you start on a good path, and because you will need a lot of credit in the future. So becoming aware about credit, managing your credit score well, and then providing them access to a lot of credit solutions. I think that's
Right.
how. I see Pesa build out in the next few years.
Right. Also, Santosh, PB Money was recently launched by Paisabazaar to build financial wellness. How does that align with Paisabazaar's broader strategy, and what impact do you expect it to have?
So PV Money is at the heart of what we are doing right now to transition from, I would say, lending marketplace to a place where we of course do loans and cards, but we also do investment advisory. I think that's the join between these two, and it's helping us, I would say, transition to a full financial wellness ecosystem, uh, because today PB Money enables you to get a full view of your financial statement, make sense of that statement, so you'll be able to see in one place how much dividend you've earned, how much interest you've earned, how much expenses you've made, what's the amount that is lying unutilized in your savings account, and how could you invest that amount and make sure that your money is working for you. So I think PV Money is enabling all of that, is enabling the data to be able to do all of this. And with that, I think we will transition into both a lending, so like I said, both an assets and liabilities marketplace.
Well, finally, as a woman leader in the financial sector, you're also a mother of a 10-month-old baby. What advice would you give to aspiring women professionals and leaders?
As a mother of a 10 month old, I'd say that it is a it's a challenging journey. uh, there is there is a path that you need to carve out of your own. uh, there's nothing called, I would say, a balanced work life. uh, you have to define your own balance. There will be days when you'll have to prioritize uh, you know your personal life and taking care of your infant. There'll be days where you'll have to prioritize what's going on at work. So I think finding your own journey is important. At the same place, ensuring that you have a support system at home, where they're largely independent, and your child is taken care of. I think that will give you a lot of flexibility and the ability to focus on what's needs to be delivered. So yeah, of course, it's a challenging journey, but I think what it does is that it makes you far more resilient. You are able to uh, do a lot of things, multitask, uh, a lot of I would say things which are you get adjusted to not always being in control. And that makes you being able to look at things in a far more meaningful manner. And I think it just makes you a better professional overall.
All right, on that note, thank you so much, Santosh, for taking the time out and joining us today on this edition of Brand Buzz. Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Brand Buzz. I'll see you next week, same time, with some more interesting conversations. See you soon.